get started. We've changed the agenda to have a public caucus session prior to the Planning Commission, targeted a half hour, and for the commission members to talk about elements. There's no public comment period during that. The public comment period comes as part of the regular meeting. And so, Cooper, will you query the roll?
Chair Rich Spiker.
Here.
Vice Chair Douglas Bizzarni. Commissioner Carl Anderson.
Here.
Commissioner Jason Wazorek.
Here.
Commissioner Colin Russ. Bureau Chief Jackie Spry. Assistant Planner and Secretary Cooper Moore. I'm here.
Thank you. So we have a quorum, right? All right. The public caucus session functions as a special meeting, is that right, of the commission?
It's a time for the commissioners to discuss upcoming projects and things on the agenda without taking action.
Okay. But is it considered a special meeting or not?
Not considered a special meeting,
Okay.
no.
Thank you. So, do either of you have topics to talk about during the caucus?
Well, I think we wanted to share with the public some of our previous conversations at the last special meeting, right?
Yes.
We instigated via a letter that you penned.
I don't think your mic's on.
Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah, it's on.
Hello, can you hear me now? I think one of the topics we wanted to talk about today is Mr. Spiker wrote a letter on behalf of the entire Planning Commission to the mayor's office to instigate a refresh or the look at a whole new comprehensive plan. It's been 10 years since Erie Refocus was developed. Some progress has been made on that plan. We had a pandemic in between its development and now. So that's something that a lot of the commissioners have wanted to be able to discuss, and we can't do that unless we're together in this forum. Unfortunately, two of our members aren't here today.
Yeah. The general feeling is that there have been substantial changes in the condition both within the city, politically, financially, and development-wise, and so the feeling was that Erie Refocus, which was essentially focused on well, I'm sorry. The Erie Refocused was essentially focused on blight remediation, and not much beyond that in terms of land use or other items that might typically be covered in a comprehensive plan. And so the feeling was that this needs to be completely reworked and updated to reflect the fact that there's a new administration within the city with a different set of goals to be accomplished as the city moves forward. So I wrote a letter and recommended that the city pursue grant funding for this to happen. And I think it was received favorably to begin the process to put together the grant application to under the MPC for funding to cover or help cover the cost of redoing a plan. And perhaps we can get an update on that later in the meeting for that. Carl, you have any thoughts on that item in particular?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I just wanted to say I applaud the new administration, Mayor Daria Devlin, and of course the executive director of the Planning Commission and Planning Department, Jackie Spry, and all of the staff for the work that they've been doing and continue to do for their ensuring that we have been kept apprised of the ideas and concepts that are being moved forward within the city and to continue to move a vision forward for the betterment of the entire community.
Okay.
So I certainly appreciated the fact that we had the opportunity to sit down and have that summit meeting with them.
Yes, it was very good. Other thoughts?
I have a couple. I did a little bit of number crunching before I came to the meeting today. The previous version of Erie Refocused was based on 2010 census data. At that time, the city of Erie had a population of 101,786. The U.S. Census Bureau's most current estimate for the city of Erie as of 2024 is 92,940. That means across 14 years, we've lost 8,846 of our fellow citizens. That puts us at a rate of 9.1 citizens leaving our city every week. Those are pretty scary numbers. There's a lot of balls in the air, so to speak, on economic development and how to solve this problem. I know one of the major pushes right now is that we need new housing. I struggle to calculate how there's demand for that. Yes, housing prices are up, and that's probably more of a factor of the dollar and inflationary issues. There was a recent Go Erie article dated March 7th. Our housing is down, our housing prices on average, median home prices down 12.6% in Erie County, not just the city. We're below state average, we're below national average on housing prices. So what is the goal when we update our master plan for housing? Our previous master plan had an entire chapter, or not chapter, but 2 pages on disinvestment. Basically, it calls out 45% of residential properties within the city are at risk of disinvestment. At the time, one of the bigger numbers to come out of the study was there were 4,700 vacant homes in Erie, 1,900 abandoned homes, 9,500 residential properties with signs of moderate to severe distress. My hope and desire as a member of the Planning Commission who's studied these numbers is that instead of trying to develop new housing where there's very little demand, is to improve the current housing stock to avoid any further disinvestment. We have, through Charles Bucky's plan, identified neighborhoods that should be focused on for renewal. The East and West Bayfront primarily are historic neighborhoods. I'm a resident of the West Bayfront, and I've seen homes on my own street deteriorate in the last 10 to 15 years. Some of the most beautiful historic homes have now become abandoned. And this is a snowball effect that we need to slow down as our population continues to decrease further. Our next census estimates come out in May, and I have a feeling they're not going to look much better. From looking at the broader numbers across the entire, the 10-year actual hard numbers, from 2010 to 2020, 13.4 people left Erie every week. We got to do something soon. And obviously, our current plan isn't working. It's not functioning. It hasn't accomplished what we want it to as far as leveling off that decrease. There's other factors at play in our country right now. The baby boomer population is approximately 73 million people in our country. The oldest baby boomers are becoming 80 this year. 16.4% of Erie's population is currently over 65. That's approximately 15,000 people. We can't anticipate them to live in their homes for another 10 to 15 years. They'll be unfortunately dying and moving on to other care facilities. That's further going to increase our available housing stock that needs to be reinvested in. So that's my my points of the day as we pursue looking towards a new Erie Refocused, or whatever its title shall be. I think Charles Buki did get some of the housing strategies correct. I remember being at some of his meetings 10, 15 years, when was that, 12 years ago now, where he opened up the meetings. Do we want to be a city of 85,000 people? That's beautiful. Or do we want to be a city of 80,000 people? And the rate that people are leaving our city, the numbers are probably going to be more like 75,000 people in the next 10 years. That erodes our tax base and what we can do with services and development. So I think some healthy conversations need to be, as Charles Buki said, adult conversations need to be had about what we're doing with ourselves and our strategies.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to applaud Commissioner Wazorek for his report, for the honesty and the in-depth analysis. I hope he takes it or plans to take it to another level of making sure that this gets out to the broader community to be aware of this. And there are good things happening, but the reality of what he just discussed should concern us all and should be also part of the equation and the focus. So again, thank you for your report today.
Thank you. Two items small items that have been on my mind. I note that in a recent meeting of the city's environmental committee, I noted that they've been working and considering on recommendations regarding a dark sky ordinance. I think that as part of the zoning review, I think it's important that those factors be incorporated as we go forward. It's the quality of lighting and how it affects neighbors and consideration of the environment is extremely important, and we want to begin moving in a different direction rather than having glowing orbs of bright light all over the city. Secondly, I had the opportunity to sit through a continuing education seminar on the design of bird-safe buildings. And I note that because Erie is located as within a national or international flyway of migratory birds, Gold Point of Presque Isle is one of the important stopping points that I think that going forward, that's something important that needs to be considered as we look at updating zoning and planning requirements for buildings and structures in the city. That's really all I have. Carl, you have any other thoughts you would like to make?
No, thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Right. You good? Mr. Wazorek?
While I was sitting here, I received a text that a member of city staff made a social media post that the city has spent $23 million in the last 15 years on redevelopment of housing. and that comes to 2,600 housing units are claimed to have been positively affected. But $23 million, that divides out to $8,846 a home. Everybody knows this day and age, $8,000 invested in your home might buy you half a floor of windows, maybe half of a roof. Just sharing stats. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. There are no other comments. We'll call the caucus session to a close and proceed with the regular meeting. All right. First item of the meeting, since we've done roll call, is approval of the February 17th, 2026 minutes. Is there a
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. This is public comment and correspondence. This is item 4 on our agenda. You want to lay out the ground rules?
Sure. Any member of the public that's here to make a comment can step up to the podium. And just for the record, we have not received any official correspondence.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just so they're aware then, as in other bodies, if they pre-sign up, do they get a certain amount of time? And then if they don't sign up, do we get a certain amount of time, or do we give people an adequate amount of time to speak?
I don't believe there's a limit for
Okay,
the Planning
thank
Commission.
you. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Julio Reyes. The property is 1701 State Street, and I'm glad to hear about the planning. It's wonderful. I came over to make a public statement because I want, after working with Matthew and the current administration, I'm looking forward to have your approval to list these two properties, the Manicure Plaza, or the Manicure building, and the Labor Temple in the historical registry at the city level, and a strong recommendation to City Council. But I also want to make a public statement to encourage people to stick around this town. I'm making a project in the Labor Temple, and this is, I'm going to read. I'm really bad at reading, but just bear with me. We are building Lilia's Chapel. We have begun a major restoration effort on the 3rd floor of the historic Erie Labor Temple, where a new cultural and historical installation, Lilia's Chapel, is being created to honor the immigrants, escapees, and working class communities who shape Erie identity across generations. Naming in honor of my lovely and beautiful wife, Lilia, the chapel purpose extends far beyond personal tribute. The project is designed to recognize the people who rebuilt their lives in Erie and contributed to the region, cultural, economic, and social strength. Historical migration panels. The chapel will feature 14 original historical panels, each representing a major migration wave that influenced Erie's early development. The first panel will be the monarch butterflies, which are the ultimate migration symbol. The second will be Erie's Native Americans, cat people, then French, British, including English, Scottish, and Irish, Germans, Pennsylvania Dutch, of course, African American, Polish, Italian, Russian and Ukrainian, Greek, Jewish, Mexican, of course, Puerto Rican, and Portuguese. Additional panels representing later migration waves and refugees communities will be added in future phases, including groups from the Dominican Republic, Spain, Bosnia, Croatia, Canada, and many others. The ceiling mural, I designed a dramatic ceiling mural model after the Sistine Chapel that will depict humanity's struggle against the many forms of evil that have appeared through history. The mural symbolizes the resilience and courage of those who fled ignorance, greed, indoctrination, dogma, sexism, violence, racism, discrimination, and hate, and who rebuild their lives in Erie, the nation, and the world. My hope is to see completed in my lifetime, unlike the La Sagrada Familia. I'm requesting community artifact collections. As part of the restoration, we're requesting copies of photographs, documents, and images of heirloom artifacts or objects that represent each ethnic group. These materials will help ensure that every community is portrayed with accuracy, dignity, and respect. We are trying to honor in the Erie labor legacy. In addition to the migration panels, the building will honor Erie labor history. Small murals throughout the building will recognize the unions that built and sustained the region's working class, including the CLU, cigar makers, typographers, bookbinders, and metal polishers, Local 506, United Electrical, Radio, and Machine Workers of America, iron workers, painters, roofers, steam fitters, laborers. This list will continue to grow as the project develops. Lilia's Chapel aims to become a cultural landmark, one that preserves Erie's past, honors its people, and inspires future generations. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your statement. Anyone else?
Good afternoon, Kathy Schaff. Thank you for all you do. I've been attending some housing listening sessions and been very interested in housing. I've watched the Tom Ridge Center had Michael Freeman's view on the land banking in Flint, Michigan, which is, I know, a different city, but you know, we can always correlate and learn. But we are in poverty as well. There's a large percentage of students from the Erie School District who live in poverty. 33.5% of families with the children of ages 5 through 17, you know, are living in poverty. But people do need housing. And I really feel that I know it's very expensive because I've been interested in this before to convert and upgrade the houses. It's sometimes more expensive that way than to build afresh. But so many buildings downtown need like an urban renewal, and perhaps if we change our zoning laws, we can have so that these good, strong brick buildings could house family units in them. And that's definitely a good thing, I think. So just wanted to put it out there. Instead of like making more parks and more green space, we have to find ways through federal dollars, what have you, to maybe put modular homes that are, you know, my friend lives in one, they're very stable. It's not, you know, something that's brand new. They've been around for a while. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see that it gets considered as we move forward with a comprehensive plan renewal.
Commission, good evening. My name is Donald Crenshaw, and I'd like to thank this body for recently, a few months back, moving forward and allowing a project to take place that we were working on. And that project has closed, and there was with assistance from you and others in the building. I want to thank you. We're out, we're working, we're building, 11 new homes, we're renovating 15, and we're out there today trying to make it happen in the snowstorm. But again, affordable housing is something that is very much needed. It's definitely a passion that I have, and I really believe with the new administration, there'll be a lot of good things to happen. With that being said, it's been the past thoughts, I feel, to eliminate definitely any houses that are not rehabable. There's the blight issues. There is the condemnation that takes place that helps to remove some of this blight. But as the Planning Commission, I would ask that you work very closely with the Mayor's office and every other department here, that we look hard and we relook at how we can renovate, save people's houses, keep people from becoming removed from their property, and create that American dream of home ownership. At the same time, I know it's a desire of the administration to eliminate homelessness and people that don't have a place to live and get them off the streets. So in your plan, I would ask that you would look very hard at the procedures and the way that the bodies address properties that may not be in compliance with code. And I know if they're not in compliance with code enforcement is supposedly the first step. And then from that step, we enter into blight. And from that step, we enter into condemnation, and we take properties for the ultimate goal is, I think, to renovate and build. But I would ask that you look at that, because at the last blight meeting, there was a property that was listed as blight, that the individuals were living in there, and they've reached out to me and we've talked. I will do everything I can do to help individuals take their houses from blight to code compliance. And from what I understand, I don't totally agree that it's happening, but code enforcement is the start. And after code enforcement has done everything that they've done or can do, then I understand the next steps can be blight. But when people aren't fortunate enough to be able to pay a water bill, a tax bill, or they have other problems, let alone a building that they may own that it's dilapidating and they need help, I just ask that we put a plan together that we help all the City of Erie residents that live in their own house, that may not have water on, may not have paid a sewer bill, may not have any utilities, and may have back taxes. The individual's house that was scheduled to be taken at a tax sale came up with the money and they took care of that. And that's one of the reasons a house can get blighted. They bring up back taxes. Well, there's already a mechanism that after taxes are delinquent so long, you lose them. The tax body doesn't take them. We don't need to change that. Let that work the way it is. But we don't need to force people to be put in predicaments that they would lose their house maybe earlier, because there's a department that is overly emphasizing their abilities, I feel, that's my own opinion, to correct possible issues of housing. If a person owns 4 walls and he's inherited it, he may not be able to pay his taxes, and they give you 2-3 years that you can be delinquent, and sometimes people need that to get their taxes paid. Water bills, sewer bills, utility bills, those departments take care of that. So I just would say to the department, do all that you can do. I, as an individual, as one of the larger developers, the only minority developer that's doing multiple units of housing, that you reach out to me, I will be more than willing to work with you and to see if together we can't make a better community. Because as the numbers are stated, a lot of people are leaving Erie, but if we can at least make sure those that are staying have a decent place to live, I think we're going to have a better community. So I thank you for your time, and I extend again my hand to whatever I can do as an individual to make a positive difference in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crenshaw. I will note that I believe that the city is not able or does not foreclose, it's not quite the right word, on properties that are occupied, that they don't take properties that are currently occupied regardless of the situation as I understand it. And so, but I appreciate your sentiments, and I think that it's important that we all work together to improve the lives of all of our citizens. Laudable goal. Thank you. Any other public comments before we proceed? Okay. On to old business. There is none that I see listed on the agenda. New business. No subdivisions this time. Land development. There's several items. So item A is Widget Financial. Minor land development for Widget Financial. Steve Kopak will be seeking final approval. Steve?
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Do you have a copy of the land development plan in front of you, or would you like me to share my screen, or?
It's on the screen.
I got it now. Cooper, can you scroll to the second page, please? Thank you. In front of you today is a minor land development plan for Widget Financial. This property is located at 1595 West 26th Street. It's on the southeast corner of Green Garden and West 26th Street. Currently exists as a branch office for the Widget Financial, and to the east of this office is another building owned by Widget Financial. Part of this project, we're going to demo that building and install what you see here is the 1,000 square foot canopy containing their ITM units with drive-throughs. As part of this, we'll have a little bit of stormwater conveyance piping to be installed to drain the area that we're going to create with the new impervious associated with the drive-through. I've sent it off to engineering for review. The overall impervious area is a reduction, so there's no additional stormwater management required. We're utilizing most of the existing entrances, and the only exit we'll be adjusting is onto Auburn Street. As part of the zoning review, I believe they came up with the requirement for the fence along the alley. The only question I had with regards to the fencing requirement was during winter months when the city would plow the alley, the potential for the snow to pile against the fence may damage the fence. I don't know if there's any consideration to be made for reduction of the fence requirement, but that was one of the comments that Jake Welsh had recommended that I kind of bring up at this meeting. So other than that, I believe we have submitted everything necessary to the entities and are just waiting for approval.
Cooper, any comments?
There were no outstanding comments from city staff.
Okay. I assume the fencing requirement is a zoning requirement?
I believe that's the case.
Yes.
That's correct, Rich. It's a screening requirement for zoning.
No, I think that we can't waive a zoning requirement, and so if that's a desirable modification, I think you need to pursue that with the zoning hearing board. They have the power to grant relief.
Okay. I appreciate the feedback.
Yep.
Motion to approve.
That's all.
Okay, I have a motion to approve.
Before we approve, Mr. Chairman, if they are looking for some type of relief and want to go back to zoning, do they have to come back to us on an issue like a fence? Would they be better off doing that and waiting, or?
No, I don't believe that it's necessary.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how quickly the board might approve. Jason?
I think you can do a motion to approve it
Okay.
If the zoning board wants to give a variance.
Yes,
If,
yeah, if it's subject to zoning hearing board approval.
okay. So Commissioner was.
I think we're good. I just wanted to bring it up. I don't think they're going to go for a variance. I just wanted to, it was noted in the email from Jake, so I wanted to make sure I brought it up to your guys' attention and kind of got your feedback.
Okay,
Okay, so you want to try and seek that or not seek it?
No, I think they're going to move forward with it. I just kind of wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were on it. He recommended that I bring it up during the meeting, so I just wanted to make sure that I did.
all
We
right,
show a fence on there, so we will not be seeking a variance.
okay.
Okay, then, Mr. Chairman, I'll second Commissioner Wazorik's motion
All right.
as presented.
Okay. I will note that Widget is a customer of Weber Murphy Fox, and I therefore have to recuse from the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being
Thank
none?
you.
Thank you. Next item, Rarig Pacific, minor land development regarding their building. Steve, you want to talk about this one?
Yes. Steve Kopak here again for Rearing Pacific Company. They're looking to add a 3,000 square foot office addition to their existing facility. It will encompass a small portion of their already office area, extend primarily over asphalt. The intent is to just connect the stormwater back into an existing structure where it currently drains to. Again, I shared this with the engineering and I have not received any comments. Like I said, it's primarily over impervious area, so no additional stormwater management was proposed other than connecting in some gutters and downspouts. We've showed a little bit of additional parking there, moving it forwards from where it was previously. Other than that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
There are no outstanding,
Do you want to scroll for everybody else's?
Yes.
We've seen it.
and there are no outstanding comments from city staff on this project.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank you again.
opposition? You bet, thank you. Item C, Salakio Business Park. This is a minor land development for Community Investment Coalition. Mr. Porter is here for Porter Consulting. So,
Good afternoon. You can flip over to the, actually Porter Consulting Engineers here for MCIC regarding proposed greenhouse development. Next. So we're at the corner of Paragon Drive and Downing in the Sabacchio Opportunity Park on the north side of Paragon, just opposite the commercial greenhouse facility that we designed and had constructed 2024 and 2025. This is a small 2,500 square foot community greenhouse with minimal parking and stormwater management to the rear or the north of the building. We have zoning approval, has been submitted to engineering. We've addressed engineering comments and received acknowledgement and agreement with those issues. So we're here for approval. Appreciate it.
thank you. Cooper, any comments?
There are no outstanding comments from city staff.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before we vote, I just want to make a couple comments. As I sit on the Land Bank Board, and although this isn't specific to this particular project, it is to some of the projects that they have been engaged in, which I'm going to commend them for, but want to explain to the public that at the land bank meetings, there has been some discontent with approving and moving forward community gardens, because community gardens have turned into essentially people just picking up plots of land and claiming their creating community gardens, and they haven't been taken care of. The land bank voted to essentially not allow community gardens to move forward in an entirety across the city because all of these places were not being taken care of, and frankly, some people were taking advantage of just using that umbrella as just a means to say what they're doing with the properties. But MCIC, the group over on the east side, does have plans. They are going to be bringing forward some more outdoor community gardens with some vacant lots. They have always been successful. They're being used by the new American population quite substantially. This being an indoor facility, I think, enhances the capabilities to be able to do year-round. I assume that's what the purpose is here, goals. So I think this fits in part of the overall plan and strategy that's happening in that entire Downing Avenue region. I commend them for continuing to work with the entire community and the various different organizations within the city to ensure that all of this stuff is moving forward, working for everybody. This is just one more aspect, I believe, of a continual plan that's happening there. So I just wanted to, because it may come up as an issue again, that we approve some people at the land bank for receiving outdoor gardens and other people may not. And I want to make sure it's on the record that there's specific reasons for plans, success, implementation, and follow-through. And we're going to ensure that with the land bank, and I certainly know we want to ensure that here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cooper, can I ask that you put down, keep track of the notion that there perhaps needs to be some kind of regulation around community gardens and their upkeep and maintenance over the long term? It's not exactly a land use issue. Might be part of the conveyance document from the land bank or all, but I think it's important consideration to include going forward.
And Mr. Chairman, that was part of what the land bank was considering and had in its discussions, that we are certainly encouraging acquiring of these parcels and development of them to get them back to their most valuable taxable use. And perhaps at times in the interim, there was a use for community gardens, but there have been instances where that's been taken advantage of, and the land bank did take action on that.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate those comments. Item C, rezoning, there is none. Item D, waterfront conditional use. There is nothing this month. Blighted properties, item E.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Chairman and Commission. It's my pleasure to be here today. My name is Gene Sundberg. I'm an attorney with the Marsh Schaff Law Firm. I'm here with April Decker in her capacity with the Redevelopment Authority. And I'm also here as the solicitor for the Redevelopment Authority and the solicitor for the Erie Land Bank and an assistant solicitor for the City of Erie. I've been asked to present this commission with a resolution requesting that this planning commission certify the following properties as blighted
pursuant to the Pennsylvania Urban Redevelopment Law. Part of your package, I think you have that resolution that itemizes those properties. These properties were previously reviewed by the City of Erie Blight Property Review Committee. After individually evaluating each of the properties and the conditions to make sure that they met with all the applicable statutory criteria, the committee determined, again, that's the City of Erie Blighted Property Review Committee, determined that the properties met and exceeded the definition of those blighted properties under Section 12.1C of the Urban Redevelopment Law. Under the statute, once the Blighted Property Review Committee has made that determination, the Planning Commission, this panel here, must review and formally certify the properties as blighted before the redevelopment may proceed with any additional action under the law. The resolution before you today fulfills those required steps in the statutory process. It is important for this body to note that certification today does not authorize acquisition or any specific redevelopment activity. Rather, the presentment and this execution of that resolution simply allows the process established under state and local law and accompanying ordinances to continue so that the authority may evaluate the next steps to address the blighted conditions. That includes, but is not limited to, working with the owner to specifically address those conditions and hopefully remedy them. The redevelopment authority follows an established process when addressing blighted properties. Our first objective, this is the redevelopment's first objective, is always voluntary compliance by the property owner. Property owners are provided with notice, and I'll stop right there. Let me tell you about the notice. These are no surprises. The detailed analysis is determined who the owner is, how to get them the documentation, and secondly, and probably just as important, the properties are posted, okay? So, and then when they're blighted, that blight designation is recorded at the Recorder of Deeds office so that it is part of the public record. So this notice process takes years, and it's done repeatedly. Not only is it done repeatedly beforehand, but then once the redevelopment has mandated to proceed forward, there are additional notifications that come from the redevelopment authority and come from me before a condemnation process is started. So there are many times repeated and overlay of notice processes to the owners and specifically to the property itself. So part of that process is the posting of the property and pictures taken of those properties with the dates. At all times, the owner, as I indicated, has the opportunity to address and resolve those blight designations. When those conditions are not resolved within a required time frame, the matter proceeds through the statutory process under the established urban development law. The resolution that you have before you with the listed properties reflects the recommendation of the Blighted Property Review Committee and allows that process to move forward in a designated process according with the law. At this time, on behalf of Aaron Snippert and his staff, we're requesting that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution certifying the properties listed as in fact blighted. If there's any questions, more than happy to try to address them.
I would note that Aaron Snippert attended last month's meeting and discussed this revised procedure, so that certainly hasn't come as a surprise at all. Do we have the memorandum or the recommendation for?
There should be part of your package. There's going to be that resolution that lists the properties.
Oh,
It was,
I didn't get it.
it was emailed to us.
Oh, it was, oh, that's, all right.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask Attorney Sundberg, who I have great respect for, as I mentioned earlier, I serve on the land bank. He is our solicitor. There's a tremendous amount of work that's being done there, and we supported moving forward with this process. As I mentioned yesterday at the meeting, it is a process that goes through several entities along the way.
Thank you.
But I also had cautioned that the wheels of government move slow and purposely so at times for both the government and for the taxpayers and the property owners to be able to, as he suggested, attempt to resolve potentially outstanding issues. I think when we originally had talked about this a couple months ago, there's well over potentially 100 homes that could possibly fall under this category. And we were looking at a minimum of at least 25, excuse me, that rose to a level that they were trying to whittle down to have the funding for 10. And then it moved on to the blight review. I just wanted to bring up, and so we are all cautioned, because Mr. Chairman, you had mentioned this earlier, that there's never a property that is blighted where somebody is living in the home. And I think there was some at the blight review committee, and just want to make sure with the list that we have, that there was a home where the people were in jeopardy of losing by tax sale, and I think it was actually brought up earlier here, was able to pay the taxes, but did not necessarily have the ability to resolve the code violations. And we're talking a lot about housing, we're talking about adaptive reuse and saving properties. We're also and many other elements of government talking about people being able to stay in their homes and have independent living. And I just want to make sure that we're not infringing on any of that in the list that we're moving forward, and that we're reviewing and double checking, as I know we are, but I'm just making this statement, but reviewing and double checking to make sure that that's not happening. And I would suggest that with all the money and programs that we're talking about throwing at all of these things, and this goes back to Mr. Wazorik's comments, that it really comes down to about $8,000 per home. With all this money that we're spending, perhaps we should have a program set up to help these people that have these code issues that could potentially be staying in these homes, but they may need a little extra help. So I think we should be talking about those kind of plans as well. But I just wanted to make sure that were those issues cleared up, or what? I don't know exactly everything that happened, but.
Commissioner Anderson, thank you. I am sure that the properties that are on this list, that there is no one living in those properties. If it is determined that they are, then, as you said, the wheels of the government slow down to make sure that we're not throwing people to the curb. That's not what we want to do. That's not what has happened. I can assure you that has not happened with any of the other condemnation processes. So there is a time frame after this body authorizes and certifies this list. There is a process to go through where there's inspections of the properties, there's photographs of the properties, there's appraisals of the property to make sure that no one is using that as their residence. Now, there have been situations where there have been people who do not have any ownership interest in the property. They're in there. So we're working hand in hand with the City of Erie Police Department, who have been very helpful to make sure that those people are removed before we go forward. But as previously indicated, yeah, these are not residences of anybody that of an ownership capacity that would be taken. And if there is that situation, there is an extended period of time within which to accommodate those individuals.
And also, if there's issues that have arisen that puts them on a blight list or a potential blight list, as those issues are being resolved, they're removed. Any further action is stopped, et cetera. And the process that we're talking about this isn't taking the final step. This is just another step in the chain to continue to work with the parties to try and get compliance or work to achieve compliance before
Commissioner Anderson,
condemnation.
Commissioner Anderson, that's exactly right. So if at any point throughout this process, those code violations are addressed or rectified, they immediately come off, immediately. That's what we want them to do. Again, that's why the wheels of the government move so slowly, to give that property owner the opportunity, even this late in the ball game. It's never too late. But if they have the ability to rectify theirs or are working toward that, absolutely, we stop, we let that happen, and then ultimately we have been successful in having that blight designation removed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you for comments.
We
So,
need a motion to
we
approve
need a
the...
motion to approve the resolution.
I will motion to approve the resolution.
Second? I'll make a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Being none, motion is carried. Thank you. Also note that I sit on the Commission's designee to the Blighted Property Review Committee, and it's been very interesting work. It is amazing the hoops that the authority must jump through to get people to that point. And it's amazing the subterfuge that some owners undertake, use and abuse both properties and tenants, potential tenants, in the city. It's just, it's a very difficult problem that's slowly being addressed. Okay, we'll move on. Historic nominations.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Matthew Falcone. I'm the Historic Preservation Planner for the city. We have before us two historic nominations, one for the Erie Menacor Building, another for the Erie Labor Temple. Both were initiated by the property owners. They were both reviewed before the Historic Review Commission earlier this month on the 2nd. Both were found to, we'll do one at a time. The Menacor was determined that there was reasonable cause for it to be considered historic, and the Historic Review Commission provided a positive recommendation to City Council for its designation. So today, before you, you are charged with reviewing the nomination within the lens of established city plans. The building is located at 1607 State Street, and that is in the Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Network. They were notified of this nomination and have expressed support. To give you some context of the site, it is the entire city block from 16th to 17th Street and from State Street to French Street. Some site photos. This is the primary facade of the building. Some details of the facade. You have on the left the rededication cornerstone, as well as some terracotta ornamentation on right. Here you have a side view and the rear of the building. As I mentioned earlier, the HRC provided a positive recommendation to City Council that the former Erie Menor Core be listed on the City of Erie's Register of Historic Places as it conveys historic significance through criteria A, C, and F, and that it maintains significant historic integrity to convey its significance. Again, before you, your charge as Planning Commission is that you shall consider whether the designation is consistent with your municipality's comprehensive plan and other development plans and policies only, and transmit a report detailing its recommendations to Council. That takes us to the plans. So first off, this is Erie Refocused. It's looking specifically at the Trinity Park neighborhood. So you have the overall slide on left, and then the details to expand it a bit on right. So you can see here that it does reference in Trinity Park its biggest assets through prioritized blight mitigation and beautification along highly traveled corridors. The Erie Menor Core was not initially identified as a historic asset in this particular plan, which then takes us to our 2025 architectural survey. The survey, which was conducted by a consulting firm, did identify this building as potentially being eligible to be listed on the National Register. Looking at the neighborhood plan that was done in 2024, I know it's very tiny, we'll kind of zoom in. The red box on left is the city block that encompasses the Menor Core, and then some pertinent information is on right. Again, these plans, both the neighborhood plan and Erie Refocused, I think as we mentioned earlier, are largely blight remediation plans, but that this is often used as a tool to help the city consider where to focus its resources, especially on beautification, things like tree plantings. And as you know, with this program, it also partners with the State Historic Preservation Office in case applicants want to be listed on the National Register, helps them access different resources. Erie's Historic Preservation Plan speaks much more directly to the nomination of this resource. So there's a couple different areas. The first is a page from our cultural resource plan where we identify Erie's significant historic assets. As I mentioned before, in Erie Refocused, this was omitted as a historic asset. The plan also charges us to designate new local historic landmarks and list new properties and districts on the National Register of Historic Places, both of which the owner is availing themselves of through this process. And then it also helps to tell Erie's diverse stories. So in this case, it specifically charges us to look at different ethnic and social histories that comprise our own. And in this case, the Menor Core is directly associated with German immigration and the settling of German-speaking peoples here in Erie. If you read through the nomination, which is available on the HRC's website, it goes into great detail about its connection back to German heritage. And then also, our historic preservation plan specifically tells us to identify property and resources types that were absent from previous inventories. So in this case, when we look back at Erie Refocused, this was not identified as a historic resource. It is now going through the process of just that. My recommendation to you is that the nomination of this building is consistent with these three plans and is manifest of the Erie's Historic Preservation Plan. And I'm here to answer any questions you might have about this particular building.
Will the nomination, will that do anything to protect any of the interiors of the building?
The local designation does not. So local designation only looks at the exterior of the building. I can tell you that the property owner who is here today is also pursuing the listing on the National Register with the intent to be able to access tax credits, and the interior of the building through that lens would be able to any renovations or restorations done on that would have access to those tax credits, which would then look at the historic integrity of the interior of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone have questions?
I motion to approve the nomination
About, we,
as stated in the suggested.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second, but I would like to make a couple comments, please. So I commend you for the work that you're doing and the work that's being done with the preservation office in the city. I was honored to be a co-author of 125th anniversary history of the Erie Manticore book that was published several years ago. I don't even remember when. It's been so long ago, but about 20 years ago. And Attorney David Unger, lifelong Erie person, was the chair, and of course retired Police Lieutenant James Schwartz, lifelong Erie person, was the vice chair of the committee that we worked on co-authoring the book. It's a fascinating history of one ethnic movement into this community of many, making up our rich heritage, and the fact that it has a new life and a lease on a new life shows how historic preservation and those who gravitate towards it and accept adaptive reuse can really protect our heritage and continue to make the life of a building live beyond any one person's lifetime and through the life of the community. So I have a personal feelings and interest in this project, and commend you for moving it forward on the list and the work that's being done there. So I am honored to second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move quite literally down the street as we move to our next nomination, which is the Erie Labor Temple.
It's up the street.
So again, this nomination was initiated by the property owner and was considered before the Historic Review Commission earlier this month. It received both recognition for or determination of reasonable cause to be historic, and also received a positive recommendation to City Council. I would like to mention that on the agenda, the address is incorrectly identified. So this is 1701 through 1707 State Street. So when we go into the meeting minutes, we'll need to have that updated. It's 2 buildings and 4 addresses. Even though we are just a block away, we are in a new neighborhood. So the neighborhood is Central City, which is also within the Sisters of St. Joseph neighborhood network. Again, both community entities were, we notified them of this nomination. Both were supportive. Here you'll see that the resource is bounded in red. The Erie Labor Temple, as you can see, is this 3-story building on left. However, well, I'm sorry, this is the primary facade and secondary facade of the Erie Labor Temple. Here you have a bit more detailed view of the secondary facade in the rear of the building, but the building also includes the next building, so this is 1705 and 1707. They are all connected on the second floor. And so that when you access through the Labor Temple on left, that once you reach the second floor, there are offices throughout each of these buildings. The Nomination was considered before the HRC earlier this month, and they determined that the former Erie Labor Temple be listed on the City of Erie's Register of Historic Places as it conveys historic significance through criteria A and C and maintains sufficient historic integrity to convey its significance. What was particularly interesting about these nominations being in tandem with one another is that they have related history. And I know it's not your purview or charge to dig into that history, but I did want to mention that the slide that you have before you now is a rendering of the interior of the Menor Corps, and it was used by the labor unions as a fundraiser for the building, for the Erie Labor Temple. Again, you as Planning Commission are charged with looking at this nomination through the lens of different city and neighborhood plans. We are back again in Trinity Park, although I know it is difficult to see. The square on right and then the red circle does identify the Erie Labor Temple as a historic resource. So Erie Refocused had already identified this as a historic asset. Again, we are back in the neighborhood plan for Census Tract 13 in Trinity Park, which was done in 2024. It again calls attention to investing in city assets into neighborhood kind of resources, and that in this neighborhood in particular, there's a high potential for success. The architectural survey that was done in 2025 identified this as a potential historic resource. And when we delve into the historic preservation plan, again, we are checking off several different boxes. So the nomination for the Labor Temple, the two criteria speak to its architecture, but it also speaks to its history of organized labor within the city of Erie and the impact that it has made. So again, it fulfills Initiative A5 and A6, which are to list new landmarks, both on the city's register and with the National Register. And then again, we're back to telling Erie's diverse story. So because we are looking at this landmark not simply as an example of beautiful architecture, but because of its social history and its history of organized labor, it fulfills yet another one of the recommendations in our city's historic preservation plan. And that's it. I would suggest that, again, like the Menor Corps, this nomination is consistent with the Erie's comprehensive plan, as well as our neighborhood and historic preservation plans. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Any commissioners have questions? Would like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion as suggested, and I'd like to thank Julio for doing this.
Great.
I'll second the nomination.
Great. Thank you. I think it's appropriate element in the city to be given Erie's significant labor history. For that reason alone, it's important to preserve and recognize it. Having a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Well done. All right. Item D, Design Review Committee. Oh, we can see now. First item is reappointment of Mark Stegg to fill the Erie County Historical Society seat. Second item to consider is reappointment of myself to fill a licensed architect seat. Consider them as, unless you want to vote against me.
No.
We need a motion.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
I think for both you and Mark, you deserve to have them individually. So I think let's do them.
Separate them? Okay. Item A, Mark Stegg. I have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion, Mr.
Second.
Chairman.
And a second.
Yeah, I just want to say Mark is a great advocate for Erie history, has Been a long time. He was a long-time postman and really loves Erie history and is a great asset to our community.
Mm-hmm. I would second that completely. He's been on the Design Review Committee for a long time. And he shows up, which is important. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? No. So, on to the next item. The appointment of myself to the committee.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Any any?
Mr. Chairman, you too deserve accolades for the work that you do. We can't commend you enough for.
Thank you. As maybe the longest term member on the committee, I appreciate that. It's something that I enjoy, despite the occasional conflicts that arise. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? The motion's carried. Thank you very much. And I too show up most of the time. So, special meeting request. Schedule a special meeting for the month of April to discuss Erie Outside, which is the city's parks plan. So, anybody have any thoughts about that? Other than we should do it?
Yes.
All right. I'll make a motion that we schedule the special meeting in April. The date to be determined by polling the commissioners for availability and other interested partners.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ms. Spry. Ms. Spry.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jackie Spry, and I'm the Bureau Chief of Planning and Zoning. I'd like to just talk a little bit about some of the comments that you made, or questions around the comprehensive plan for, and where we are with that. During caucus, you were discussing that. We are actively working on the municipal assistance planning grant for the state. That's due April 1st. And so we are working on the scope of work, the budget, and putting together that application, which will support the development of a new implementable comprehensive plan to provide a clear, actionable roadmap for the city over the next 10 years. This plan is grounded in inclusive public engagement that the city staff and planning and zoning department and also the mayor's office of community affairs will work on that part of that engagement piece initially, because we've done a lot of that legwork already, and the priorities and the needs of the community will be in our hands. And so before it even gets to a consultant, we hope to have some of that work done prior to the plan starting. The comprehensive plan will identify priority actions that leaders and partners can realistically implement to stabilize neighborhoods, guide strategic investment in housing infrastructure and public spaces, and support sustainable community-driven growth. So we are hopeful that we'll submit that and receive that award. We would most likely hear if we receive the award by, I believe, the beginning of the fall, so sometime in September. In the meantime, like I said, the city can begin engagement with priorities and needs of our community, as well as draft an RFP and have a consultant, not under contract, but at least have that lined up for when and hopefully when we receive the award. So, any questions around that?
Thank you.
I also would like to note that the state is very intentional on making sure that municipalities and communities are creating implementable plans. We hear often at these meetings and other meetings that we create plans and we put them on shelves. The planning world is moving away from that, and the state recognizes the need to make sure that these are actionable and able to be sustainable. So make note of that.
Thank you. I think that's important.
Yes. Also, in terms of the special meeting, at that special meeting, we hope to, that's for the Comprehensive Recreation, Parks, and Open Space Plan, we hope to be able to discuss the draft plan with you, which you will receive prior to that special meeting. The hope is to talk through really the recommendations of the plan. Once the consultants and the planning staff meet with you for the special meeting, we'll have a 30-day, and there's an internal review also from city staff. We'll have a 30-day comment period, public comment period, and then of course we'll have a study session with city council, and then we'll hopefully have full adoption sometime in July for the plan. So that's kind of the timeline around that. Are there any questions before I shift gears slightly here? No? Okay, great. I was just going to move my microphone a little bit to this side so I could speak to the audience as well, if that's okay. Today, I'm here to recognize and thank someone who has spent the majority of his professional life serving this community, and that's Jake Welsh. Jake is unfortunately not able to join us at this meeting today, where we wanted to speak about his career and thank him, but I know that he's watching online, and so Jake, if you can hear us, we're speaking to you, and I know there's a lot of people listening in, city staff listening in, so thank you for tuning in and listening to what I'm about to say about Jake. This is Jake Welsh's last week at City Hall. Jake is the Chief Zoning Officer at the City of Erie, and he's been at the city for 10 years. So, Jake is the definition of a true civil servant. For more than 30 years, he has dedicated his career to municipal and county government, working to improve communities across Erie County and the City of Erie. The work he has done may not always be highly visible, but it plays a critical role in shaping how our communities grow and function. Jake began his career after graduating from West Virginia University with a degree in landscape architecture and geography. He went on to spend nearly 22 years with the Erie County Department of Planning, starting as a Planner 1 and steadily working his way through the ranks to become director from 2006 to 2015. During those years, he helped guide planning efforts, infrastructure projects, and development initiatives throughout the county. For the past decade, Jake has served the City of Erie as our Chief Zoning Officer. In that role, he has managed the administration and enforcement of the city's zoning and land development regulations, led the Planning Commission, reviewed development proposals, and provided guidance to residents, developers, and staff. Anyone who has worked in planning or development knows that zoning codes are rarely simple. But Jake has always had an incredible ability to interpret the code and explain it in a way that makes sense. And if you've ever had a question about zoning, chances are Jake had the answer or knew exactly where to find it. Jake also holds AICP, which is American Institute of Certified Planner certification, and his decades of work in planning reflect not only his expertise, but his long-standing commitment to the profession. I'd also like to share just a quick personal note. 23 years ago, when I started my first job out of college at the County Planning Department as a Planner 1, Jake was the transportation planner there. He introduced me to the MPO and to the world of transportation planning. and even showed me how to set up a PennDOT traffic counter across the road, which to me was very exciting at the time. At that time, everything was very new, and Jake was always approachable, patient, and willing to share his knowledge with someone just starting out. Jake's career reminds us of the importance of public service. Local government is about the everyday work that helps our community function and grow, and Jake has spent more than 3 decades contributing to that work in meaningful ways. Jake, on behalf of everyone here and across the city of Erie, we want to thank you for your dedication and the knowledge that you've shared with us over the years. We wish you the very best in your next chapter, and thank you. And I open it up to anybody else who would like to say something. I know that the Planning Commission worked for years with Jake,
Yes.
who led the Planning Commission. So,
Well,
Chairman, I open it up to you if you'd like to say anything else.
Yeah, I would note that as a practicing architect who did a lot of work in the city, I had the good fortune of working with Jake numerous times, but primarily first as a member of the Design Review Committee and then later the Planning Commission, which he was the secretary and perfunctory leader, or basically the leader of those efforts for many, many years until the city actually hired a planner and then an assistant planner. He was a pleasure to work with. He was always collaborative and looking to how to make what we did better and focus on the important elements under discussion. So I wish him well as he goes into retirement. Anybody else?
I thank Jake as well. I echo your statements.
Thank you. Thank you. Only one item left.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Motion and a second. Any opposition? Thank you. It surprised me. There were a lot of people here today.
That's the longest meeting we've had since the Airbnb issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.